This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is a familiar voice and face on KCCK. Scott Chrisman is one of the hosts of our Talking Pictures movie review show, a filmmaker yourself, and director of the Cedar Rapids Independent Film Festival, which is coming up.
It is.
Actually, the founder. You started this.
Co-founder, yes.
Yeah. It's coming up is it the weekend of the 12th?
12th and 13th, yes.
And this is for one weekend. Cedar Rapids is the film capital of all Iowa as you bring in films, all of which have to have an Iowa connection, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yep, have to be related to Iowa in some way. Either filmmakers worked here, lived here, born here, films about Iowa. So it's pretty wide-ranging, but enough that it focuses on Iowa in some way.
Now, kind of the big story for the film festival this year, we certainly want to talk about some of the films that are coming, but really the elephant in the room is kind of the film that you're not going to show, but that you're going to talk about.
Sure. Well, we're happy to welcome back some friends of the festival who actually found out this year that our screening of their first film, or one of their first films, in 2002 was their first public screening ever. And that was a bit of a surprise to me, but we're happy to.
So this was their first. So their first. I'm setting this up. So this was the first film they ever submitted.
Yep.
You put in your festival.
Yep.
And then they went on to write.
They went on to write the concept and the screenplay for A Quiet Place, among many other things. But that was their big hit last year, 2018, which ended up grossing $340 million worldwide. So huge success. And couldn't happen to a better couple of guys.
And you've gotten to know them quite a bit. It's Brian and Scott and Brian.
Yep,
yeah.
Scott, Beck, and Brian Woods.
And you've known them throughout the years. So this is it's got to feel very rewarding to see good people get rewarded.
Sure, absolutely. They've been submitting. I think they submitted over the course of 5 or 7 years, something like that. And we're one of the groups that would always come back, come to the critique sessions. Just really thirsting for feedback and saying, oh, it's great we won awards, and we're glad that you thought our films were good, but beat us up. Give us that last 10%, 5%. What do we need to fix? And so it was pretty easy to see that they were going to be going somewhere at some point, just through hard work and determination, if nothing else, but very talented as well.
And of course, then can kind of hit the gold mine with when they were able to get The Quiet Place. Of course, they didn't produce that. They kind of ended up selling the script. Isn't that the way that works?
They managed to work out a nice deal with Paramount, and they had to hand over the directing reins. But I think it's going to open up an awful lot of doors.
John Krasinski did a pretty good job.
Oh, sure.
He did an okay job.
Executed
directing
the film
movie.
well, yeah.
So they're going to be here, and you're not showing A Quiet Place, but they're going to have a nice, long conversation session with them.
We're going to be talking about their progress from the backyard in Bettendorf, Iowa, with action figure stage things all the way up to the Hollywood producing and directing that they do now.
Wow. So that's kind of film industry, but the main purpose of the film festival is to show lots of films. Mm-hmm. Long films, short films, serious films, funny films, documentaries. You got a little bit of everything.
Everything.
So tell me the highlights.
Well, we've got, as you said, covers pretty much everything. If you look through our About the Films on our webpage at crifm.org, there's a section that gives you a synopsis of everything. And as you said, we've got comedy, we've got horror, we've got documentaries. Documentaries are always a strong category for us in the film festival. There's no shortage of that this year either. We've got the Collins story, which is a sort of retrospective on Arthur Collins and the space race and things that ended up being the communication developed to reach the moon in the late 60s also became GPS and all these various things that came out of those efforts. So there's a documentary about Collins.
That only showed for like a weekend here
locally.
And
I think they were only special showings. So
so really your first year, one of your first opportunities to get a chance to see that.
Sure, yeah. Anybody connected with Rockwell or has an interest in that idea, it should be an interesting film for you. Also, Wine Diamonds, which comes to us out of Kirkwood Community College and their media productions, but covers some interesting things that are happening in the wine industry because cold weather grapes and some various hybrid ideas there that can only grow in cold weather are coming out of the Midwest and developing some new tastes in wine that have not existed before. So a nice deep in-depth of the wine industry in the Midwest and some of our local wineries as well. and Aging in America, which also discusses the idea of we've got a lot of aging population, and how do we relate to them, and how do they relate to folks that are interacting with them today. That comes out of Kirkwood as well, and covers a course in Kirkwood professors' effort to connect this older population with a younger population, and the various interactions that come out of that. So interesting story there as well. And also the Amish incident, which is based on an incident in the mid-60s involving whether or not the Amish populations should be required to go to a state-sponsored school, and how that works with school districting and things like that. So it feeds into a lot of things we're talking about now, of who should be required to do what in education, and a particular incident when things were kind of forced one direction. So filmmakers take a look at education, both that period of time and things that might still be relevant today.
So those are a few of the documentaries showing at the festival. Tell me a little bit about the dramas and the comedies and the original scripts. You have some fun things there, too?
We do. We have Overdue, which is a Pro-Am feature. And I'm not entirely sure, but I think this might be their premiere, one of their earlier showings of it here. And it follows Carl, a mild-mannered custodian of the Jamestown Library by day, and a self-appointed overdue book collector by night. So follow him as he makes his list and hunts down his prey. So exacting library justice in a unique and gruesome manner. So that's one of our horror films, but I would give it, there's some comedy in there as well. Also Peregrination, which is it's an elderly buddy film, and it's a short, but the concept is great. Two elderly buddies sneak out of their retirement home and steal a car in order to reunite one of the friends with his granddaughter. And so think, maybe not quite Lethal Weapon, but something that might involve Morgan Freeman. That sort
Feeble
of
Weapon.
Feeble, yeah, perhaps. So a nice short there out of West Des Moines.
Well, this is the 12th and 13th of April, and you kind of take over the Collins Road Theater in Cedar Rapids, and you pretty much take over all 6 bays and show movies all weekend long.
Well, we've got 2 screens this year.
Yeah.
We often have had 3, but we've got a full slate Friday night, Saturday, from morning through evening. So yes, it's a little something for everyone.
And if you do this, do you do admission by movie, or do you buy a pass to the whole festival? Tell me how that works.
Several different options. Blocks of time, I would think of it as. You could buy, of course, the full event pass, which covers start to finish everything, and then buy like Friday night or Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. So there's 4 different blocks, which run about 2.5, 3 hours. And some of them, like the Saturday afternoon ones, encompass both our films and our Q&A discussions. So there's a couple of those, and those are included in whatever session price you buy. But certainly you can get a better deal if you buy them ahead of time online. And links are at our website at crifm.org. Also available at Collins Road Theaters, but they won't be available in person until that weekend. So you encourage you to buy online and save a couple bucks.
Okay. All right. Well, again, the Cedar Rapids Independent Film Festival coming up the 12th and the 13th. A lot of movies, a lot of chances for you to do a deep dive if you're interested in not just watching the movies, but also learning about how they're made. And, of course, Scott Beck and Brian Woods from A Quiet Place will be, I'm sure, sharing some very interesting stories about being in the Hollywood fast lane.
They will. 2 other special events also. We've got the Produce Iowa is sponsoring the Media Masters series with a couple of workshops. You can sign up. There's links on our website for that occur on Saturday morning and afternoon. And also we're hosting a discussion around an out-of-competition film called Do We Belong, which involves the senseless hate crime shooting in 2017 of an immigrant on a work visa in Kansas. And his widow, along with a group of folks involved in the idea of diversity and inclusion, will be speaking on a panel around the film about how we can address some of these issues and how we can heal some of these conflicts between these populations. So that'll be on Saturday afternoon as well.
Okay. Well, people can get more information at your website and, of course, order tickets in advance, see synopses of all the movies, and kind of start building your schedule. And, again, your website is?
crifm.org. You can also find us on Facebook. We've got a couple of trailers and some various promotional pieces out there as well. Take a look.
Great. Scott, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Scott Chrisman from the Cedar Rapids Independent Film Festival, CRIF.org, if you'd like more information, or get your tickets in advance for the festival, which is the weekend of the 12th. You can hear the Culture Crawl most Thursdays and Fridays at 10:20 on the radio, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or using your favorite podcatcher app. I'm Dennis Green.